What is good, Spuds? This is Jesse White here. This is the Needless Potatoes podcast. How's everybody doing? How's your Friday going? Hopefully, you're staying safe. Our special guests today are the power duo known as Warlord Radio Podcast. They are Craig Meinhardt from Silver Tongue Devil, and they are Carrot Coleman from Diesel Beast. So they're two great pals of mine. We sit down and we talk about their podcast, we talk about my podcast, talk about guests. Carrick and I even cut some promos on Randall Day from Monogamizer, sorry. And so just sit back and relax, and I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I really enjoyed recording it. And you can catch Warlord Radio podcast on Harry Rock Radio every Sunday from 7 to 9. And you can even catch them on YouTube. If you just search Warlord Radio podcast, it should pop up. And hey, your man, your guy, Jesse White here, even has our episode with those guys that we recorded last week. We actually recorded it right after this podcast. So definitely tune in for that. Hit up YouTube and search Warlord Radio Podcast / Jesse White Deer, and it should pull up, and you can listen to me yammer on about myself. So once again, sit back and relax and enjoy this podcast. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. This is the Needless Potatoes podcast.
No, it's not.
With me, Jesse White Deer, and I'm here with Craig Meinhardt
And Carrot Coleman.
You may know us from another podcast that Jesse has been on many times,
Probably you don't.
as the Warlord Radio Podcast.
the Warlord Radio Podcast.
That's right. I feel like we should do a 3-part harmony there.
Warlord Radio Podcast.
Available on Harry Rock Radio.
There you go.
Let's intro with that. How cool was that? Gary Holt shouted you guys out.
Yeah, indeed. That was pretty wild.
That was a weird day because, I don't know about Craig, but, I was having a really shitty day.
Same.
And then ever since, so Warlord Radio Podcast recently hooked up with Harry Rock Radio and have kind of been pleasantly surprised for the most part, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, Sasquatch over at Harry Rock, he's done a lot to help us expand to a new audience, and he does a really bang-up job running Harry Rock Radio, which is like an online radio station. And they have all kinds of different content to different DJs and different shows and stuff like that. And he approached us after listening to one of our episodes.
Yep.
It was
What
the
episode
one
was it?
for Sonar Lights.
Okay.
Because apparently he knows at least somebody in Sonar Lights.
Shout out to George, Darren, and I fucking can't remember your drummer's name. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, shout out to Sonar Lights. They were awesome. And anyway, it was because he listened to that episode, he reached out to us. And he was like, hey, do you want to work together? And we're like, yeah.
Absolutely.
And so he...
Do we need more reach and more actual representation?
I
Yeah,
know, right?
absolutely.
So he took us from dozens of listeners for everyone to thousands of listeners
Yeah.
for every episode.
That's really cool, though.
Where there's something like 5,000 people listen to Warlord Radio every Sunday night.
We have been very blessed in the last year or so to increase our listenership to 45 to 50 people to 5,000
Mic drops.
Oops.
Sorry about that, everybody.
to 6,000 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So brother's done a lot to help us, and he's a really cool guy, and everybody associated with Harry Rock is really cool. And the coolest thing is that they just kind of leave us alone to do our own thing. You know, the philosophy being that if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So we kind of just do our own thing, and they help us, promote it and put it on their show, and we do whatever we can to cross promote them.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I definitely been trying to shout you guys out in my intros and stuff.
Yeah,
I would like to
appreciate
say that Harry Rock Radio, in the entire time that I've been a musician or an MC or whatever bullshit I've been, Harry Rock Radio always seems to be the most legit in the fact that they just make shit happen.
Yeah.
If Sasquatch is like, hey man, you're gonna play in a submarine, right?
Right.
You're gonna play in a submarine with Megadeth. Megadeth is not gonna care that you're there, but you're still gonna be there. He still makes that happen, and they don't care that we're there, but he makes it happen. I don't know, man.
So
Shout
yeah,
out to Harry Rock.
the Gary Holt shout out where it was Sasquatch or Kevin. He hooked that up where he was one day he was teasing me, and he's like, hey man, I got a surprise for you. I'm like, all right, what? He's like, well, I'm not going to tell you yet, but you'll see it. I'm like,
No, he
"Okay."
told me before he even got to you. He was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to sit here and piss Craig off. And I was like, the only way to piss Craig off is to withhold information. And that's exactly how you piss Craig off.
So how does he know Gary Holt?
That I don't know.
That I don't know, man. Like, we don't know.
He
Like,
pulled some Wizard Gandalf shit and made it happen, and he won't tell. But
Do you know how weird it is, though? Okay, I'm going to tell you something that happened to me.
Tell me something.
Okay, like, Gary Holt called out my podcast, which for me is a massive moment. Right?
Yeah, he called you out by name.
He called me out by name. It was weird hearing Gary Holt say my name. And then I showed it to my kid, and he didn't know who the fuck Gary Holt was, and he didn't give a shit. I was just like, dude, I'm like, no, this guy's in Slayer, and he's like, okay, cool, Dad.
Leave
And
me
I'm
alone.
like, no, you don't understand. This is like a big moment in my career. And he's like, cool, man. Does he know the Gorillas?
Leave me alone, Dad.
You got slammed by your kid.
I get slammed by my kid all the time.
If you would have got shouted out by one of those famous YouTubers, maybe you would have got some
PewDiePie.
There you
for
go.
that guy. But well, that Logan Paul or both the Paul brothers, they box apparently.
Didn't Logan? Okay, first off, Logan Paul got in a lot of trouble for covering the suicide
showing that
forest in Japan. I will also say this: I have an 11-0 record in boxing. Pretty sure I could knock out Logan Paul. And if I can't, I would like Logan Paul to very much retract to this, and then I would like to have a big Logan Paul, Carrick Coleman crossover boxing match.
That'd be amazing.
I don't even care if I win, but I will knock Logan Paul the fuck out.
So I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm at a big disadvantage. I don't know who the fuck Logan Paul is.
Well, the only way I
He's
know
a
about
dude.
He's an internet.
he's a YouTuber.
Okay.
He's a very handsome man.
So I don't.
Well, and
I
then-
wouldn't give a shit
and
about
then
any of that.
He has a brother named Jake Paul, and then together they do
No relation to Vinny Paul, I assume.
Together they are
They all
the Paul brothers.
Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer.
Ooh.
Paul Bear,
There you go.
oh my God, stay on him, Taker, stay on him. Okay, so it took us what time? How far are we into this podcast?
Like 6 minutes.
Yeah, we're like
Okay, so it took us 6 minutes to hit a wrestling reference.
Yeah.
There you
All
go.
right, like-
That's pretty good. I feel.
all right. That's it. Podcast over.
Yeah,
Podcast
there you go.
over.
Hey
Are you
guys, thanks
serious,
for tuning
man?
in. This has
So-
been the Needless.
These are
Potato
truly
Podcast.
unnecessary potatoes.
All right.
Needless potatoes. Needless potatoes.
Needless potatoes.
Needless potato podcast.
I've been saying this shit wrong the whole
What
time.
the fuck?
Well, we're renaming this episode the Unnecessary Potato.
The unnecessary potatoes. No, that's like
Unnecessary warlords.
my dad, he has some friends in Ireland and such, and he told one of his buddies the name of the podcast, and that guy cut a promo on me about how useful and needful potatoes are in Ireland.
He's like, my son, when my sheep go flocking off into the distance, all I have is me patates. And if I don't have me patates, I've got nothing.
Right.
And you think you got a funny American podcast. You're going to talk about a bit of wrestling. Going to talk about a bit of music. Going to talk about a bit of abusing. Boyo, if I didn't have those potatoes, my daughters and sons would be dead in their locks. Do you know what I mean there? Is that basically how it went?
I think so.
Made you feel like an ass, didn't it?
Verbatim.
Verbatim.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, who are you, sir? No, he was just like, oh yeah, potatoes are like very useful and like
He's cutting a like a
Potatoes
PSA.
are so useful. If it wasn't for your George Washington Carver, we wouldn't even know that potatoes were batteries. Did you know that a potato is a fucking battery? No, you didn't, because you're a fucking cunt. That's how Irish people talk.
Yes.
oh okay.
And I mean
That is
all
true.
offense to all Irish people, because go fuck yourselves.
Ah,
Oh,
Carrick with the hot take.
this fucking.
Oh, I'll take the entire Isle of Green on. You don't even know.
You're gonna make that tour for Jesse through Ireland a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, right.
Aaron, go, brah. I say, Aaron, go suck my nuts. Fucking cheer up a little bit.
Well, all right.
There you go.
So, Silver Tongue Devil, how did that come about?
I don't know what you're talking about. So that is the band that I am nominally in. We started in 2005, so we are coming up on year 15.
Ooh,
I
okay.
know.
They're so good.
They
You know
are
what I
so
mean?
awesome.
Like,
you guys are excellent. Yeah, I got to. I came down and I went with our buddy Randall. Shout out to Randall.
shout out to Randall Day, the most podcasted motherfucker on this channel ever.
On any channel, really.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I love how Randall just looks at you like, why are we even doing this? And I'm like, I don't know, but you're on it too, so shut up.
Shut up and do your part.
His whole personality can be summed up in that one story that you love to tell when he's like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That was the best thing. Okay, so like I've been to a lot of shows. I've been playing live shows for like 25 years. And the best banter between a singer and a crowd I've ever seen was Monogamizer played a killer song. And everybody in the crowd cheered. They were like, yeah, this is great. And then Randall just looked straight at him, dead ass in the eye, and was like, yeah, thanks. And I don't know how to sum up Monogamizer more than that statement, really.
That's greatness. Enough said.
Well, it's just that entire statement because if you don't know Randall, then that's Randall.
Yeah.
No nonsense.
Anybody that listens to Warlord Radio, if you are a true Warlord Radio listener, you know Randall. He is the most. He's been on here the most time, right? He's the most.
I believe so. I think he set the record with 3 episodes so far.
He's got 3, but 3 episodes with Randall is enough because Randall will just sit there and tell you like, hey, you think you're an artist? You're not.
Randall will just be cutting wrestling promos for like an hour on an episode. He'll just get going.
I agree. He'd be like, hey, brother, so you don't know a Matisse from a Picasso from your ass. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am the money.
I heard Randall's promo game was slipping. I heard that
a little bit.
He doesn't have it anymore.
He was on this podcast once.
Yeah.
He cut an okay promo.
Yeah.
His promos are Costco.
He's bringing weak sauce, is what you're saying.
Yeah, his promos are Costco, and I'm Walmart, baby.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
he's great
So
value.
now if you're gonna call us out right here in this point in the podcast, are we doing this right now?
I mean, we can.
There you go.
Do you want to do this?
Do it.
Go ahead.
I think the
All right.
time has come.
Craig Meinhardt is officially the Earl Hebner of the situation. Needs to explain what's happening.
Carrick and Randall like to cut promos against each other, and it becomes sport, which is most entertaining. And because Randall is not here to defend himself, we're going to do our best to cut him down.
All right, but I mean, are we just cutting
What kind of
promos on Randall? Is that what we're doing? Okay, no, I'm in. This is better than what I thought was going to happen. I thought I was going to cut promo on you.
Oh, I'm just making it up.
No, let's absolutely cut
I'm just
promos
making
on
it up,
Randall.
but yeah, we're going to throw Randall under the
All right,
bus.
let's do this. Brother, I know you got talent. I know you got charisma. But if Axe Body Spray was a human being, it would be you, and you know it.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. The old Jazzmeister, world champion for a long time. You couldn't even wash my boots. Randall Day.
Wash his boots.
Randall Day, doesn't know his way around a thigh master. Weak little thighs on that little man. Me with the big thunder thighs.
I believe you. He gets you in a sleeper hold. You might be out. You might be down. You might be good. But he traps you in the thighs, man. Woo! And you're golden.
And I'm the high rolling, limousine riding, better than Ric Flair. I am the debonair. I am the almighty. I am the grand. I am the man without fear. Jesse White Deer. And you're just a little puny wimp. You couldn't even work out if you ran around in circles. That's how whack you are.
And I'm going to tell you this right now here, you goddamn son of a bitch. When I crawl up on that turnbuckle and you come out talking shit, Randall Day, I'm going to tell you this right now. Stone Cold Steve Austin slams a couple of beers. Doesn't even give a shit about what you're talking about. And that's the bottom line.
Bye.
Because Stone Cold said so.
How was that?
I think that he's going to hear this and just curl up in the fetal position, just
Well,
sobbing
that's how
in
he
a
sleeps.
corner.
We either do, it comes out like hardcore Jake the Snake style.
That's what I'm hoping.
Like all like, he's going to be all calm and he'd be like, hey, listen. So, I know you guys, you think you're good. And you might be good. And you might be great. But Jake the Snake is better.
See, now he's got to do a comeback to your comeback.
Exactly,
You just gave
yeah.
his comeback for him, so he's got to one-up you on that. He can't use
No,
that
you
now.
can't copy my comeback. That was Jake the
Yeah.
Snake. You knew I was fucking gonna rock that, and you have nothing here.
That's right.
He's going to make an entire podcast just to cut promos on all of us.
I think so.
I want that to happen so bad,
Yes.
actually.
So Randall
No.
started a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Working Stiff.
That's pretty good. He's a Buff Bagwell-esque character out there. You know,
Buff Bagwell, that's who you pull out there, Buff Bagwell,
Buff
man.
the stuff. Buff is the stuff.
Buff is not the stuff. Buff has never been the stuff. Buff was never even close to being the stuff, and you know it.
What about the big Val Boski, the Val Venus? Who? Not to interrupt you, but DJ said his whole entire gimmick is just being sexy.
I realize that Christmas is upon us. But if you don't realize that the big Val Boski has a Yule log on the fire for you, then you're missing out. Can we talk about how shitty Val Venus was of an actual wrestler?
We can touch on it.
All right, dude was cut.
How shitty was he?
Dude was shredded. I'll give him this. Dude was shredded.
Was yoked.
He was yoked.
So what era was he wrestling in?
Attitude era.
Yeah, attitude.
Yeah, very
late
much
90s.
so.
Okay.
And what they did with Val Venus is in the beginning, he was an adult porn star. And his whole deal was that no matter who your hot valet was, he could seduce her, no problem.
Right.
Because he had the Yule log. Like, yeah, dude had a big dick. Like, and even his trunks, like, dude was packing.
There you go.
And
Oh,
his special move was the money shot, where he would get up on the fucking. Can we talk about how fucking lame the money shot actually was,
It's just a
bro?
body splash.
Yeah. No, he'd get up on the ropes, and then he'd put his hands behind his heads, and he'd like grind his hips a bit, and then do like the most basic ass frog splash ever.
It wasn't even a frog splash. He just kind of leapt at you.
Yeah. And but the thing was, this guy's character was so insane.
Yeah.
And then they actually, in one of the last great moves, in my opinion, of the WWE, is they changed his gimmick completely. When they changed him heel, they basically made him a part of a group that was Mormon.
Ah.
Yeah, the right to censor.
The right to censor. And right to censor, all they did was like stop all sexual activity on.
And you couldn't cuss.
You couldn't cuss, and
Couldn't do
what I
anything.
loved about them, their whole like, okay, like, so when you'd hear the right to censor music, like, you know Shawn Michaels, right, Craig?
Right.
And you know, like an Undertaker,
Yes.
and you know, so like, you hear there's certain music hits, and they evoke emotions in you,
Right.
and so like someone like the Undertaker, you're like, "Bwah, na, 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 na," and you see the lightning, and you're like, oh shit,
That's pretty
the
good.
motherfucking Undertaker. All right, but when Right to Censor would come on, it would put up just you know, the no smoking sign without the cigarette in it, just
Right.
the circle with the slash through it,
Uh-huh.
and then it would just like howl like fucking police horns. It was so annoying.
That's pretty.
Am I
cheesy.
wrong? Am I wrong? Like,
I mean, they were a good heel gimmick.
No, for real though, like you have to give
Yeah.
right to censor how good of a heel gimmick they were.
But the music was kind of shitty, yeah.
No, it was annoying as shit. It was so bad. But I mean, like, so like you be in the Attitude Era, and somebody like Terry Runnels. Jesse, can I get a minute for Terry Runnels?
Moment of silence,
Moment
everybody.
of silence.
Terry Runnels would come out in like a gold bathrobe covering very little.
As you do.
And as soon as she would start to open said gold bathrobe, Right to Censor would come out with fucking billboards and shit and cover up her boobs and stuff. As a 14-year-old boy, I'm like, fuck all of you.
Right?
Well, the Godfather turned on his hose.
Well, he became the good father.
He became
Oh.
the good father
Yeah.
with one extra O.
What was really,
Right.
this was actually, in my opinion, a stroke of genius from Vince McMahon, is he took all of his most over-sexualized characters
Uh-huh.
and then, like, switched it all to the fact that they were now super prude and could not get away with anything.
Mormons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Normies.
Victoria was also in that stable as well.
Also, and Victoria gets very little credit for this, but Victoria, who has been around WWE forever, you would first know her as the inspiration for the character Liberty Bell in Glow.
Mm-hmm.
That lady has been wrestling since Glow,
Okay.
and she's amazing.
Oh, she's excellent.
How do you guys feel about that show Glow? Sorry to
I love
segue.
it.
I
but
have not seen
just
it.
curious.
I haven't
You
seen it
have
yet.
fucking seen it?
I haven't fucking seen it.
God
Sorry.
damn it, Jesse.
Oh,
Fuck,
you
sorry.
misogynist? Watch fucking Glow. What the fuck is the matter with you, dude?
All right. But anyway, it's badass. You like
No,
it?
it's really good. What I like about Glow is, first off, we are at a point right now in wrestling where women's wrestling is the hot ticket
Yeah.
because these women are doing amazing things.
Mhm.
They're pushing limits that the guy wrestlers don't
Right.
because they want their contracts and shit.
Right.
And these women know that they kind of have to fight for their contracts. They go fucking a little nuts.
Right.
Well, yeah, Charlotte Flair wrestled with a busted boob for like 6
Ow.
months.
Bailey went heel.
Yeah, I don't know if I really like
I
that.
don't know if I really like it either, but that's a ballsy move for her.
She got the Karen haircut.
She did get the Karen haircut. It's not great. But I mean, we have other people like, Alexa Bliss, who, this is the really funny thing, and I'm going to get these guys on the show one day because I know them all. But Bowling for Soup literally just did a song called Alexa Bliss.
Okay.
And the reason that I am connected to Bowling for Soup is Chris Burney. I'm sorry to call you out, buddy, but you let me smoke weed almost every day of high school in your garage. I should have been in class, and I was smoking weed in Chris Burney's garage.
So he's the reason you turned out the way you did.
Not the reason, but definitely instrumental.
Contributing factor.
Definitely a catalyst.
Right.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, not just in WWE, but like industry wide,
Mm-hmm.
women's wrestling is awesome.
Very much so.
Like, all right, Jesse, tell us a little bit about Shayna Baszler, dude. Like,
Well, Shayna Baszler is a badass, and she's a former MMA fighter, and she's also 1/4 of the 4 horsewomen with Ronda Rousey, Jessamine Duke, Shayna Baszler, and who's the other one? The fourth one.
tall girl with the braid.
That's Jessamine Duke.
Oh, then I don't know.
Okay, well, other person, you're the Tully Blanchard of that.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very accurate statement. I'm sorry. Like, step your gimmick up or you're Tully Blanchard. Like,
Speaking of Blanchard, what's up with her, his daughter over there?
she's kind of amazing. Okay. This is breaking news for
Oh,
Warlord Radio
bulletin.
Podcast.
Bulletin.
Bolton.
So, I have been training for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay.
I have an open audition at the dojo, which is
Okay.
Ember Moon's school.
Where's
oh,
that
very
at?
cool.
It's up in Gainesville.
Okay.
I
Wait,
am,
you're going to make that place Painesville.
There you go.
Exactly. No, I am about to jump back into wrestling. Like, it's been a really long time. I've done it before. I was okay at it. I was honestly a way better ring announcer than I was like an actual in-ring competitor. But
Uh-huh.
and we'll see where it goes. But like, no, Carrot Coleman of Warlord Radio Podcast.
And Diesel Beast.
You all love and
you're in Diesel
adore. I am about to become a pro wrestler again.
And you're in Diesel Beast.
I am also in Diesel Beast.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So tell me.
I play bass in a metal band.
Yes.
A killer
awesome
metal
band that
Yes,
sings about
very
demons
much.
and wizards.
That's true.
Love it. But when you go to an audition, or I guess it's a tryout.
More a
whatever,
tryout, yeah.
Tryout, whatever. Will you go in character?
Yeah,
And do you already have your character figured out?
I do.
Do you want to spill the beans on what
Yeah,
your
spill the
character
beans.
is? Or do you want
yeah.
to, if
No,
you
I
don't
do.
want to,
All right.
but we want you to say.
So, Craig might not be familiar with this reference, but Jesse definitely is. All right. There was always a character named Mr. Perfect.
I know
Yes.
who Mr. Perfect is.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
And Mr. Perfect was like the ultimate narcissist, right?
Yes.
But the thing about Mr. Perfect is he was like tanned and toned and had blonde hair
Mhm.
and perfect teeth and all that shit. And what I'm doing,
And not to interrupt you, but he also played guitar and did vocals for the West Texas Rednecks,
he did.
a country
he did.
group.
What I am doing is a almost parody of Mr. Perfect.
Mhm.
My name is Handsome Jack Bruce.
Okay.
I call myself that because I am bald. I have a beard. I'm missing teeth. I'm not that cut. Like, I come out looking in a mirror like I am the shit, even though I realize that I look like a guy that frequents pool halls mostly.
So, and
Shady Pool
I
Halls.
like shady pool halls. The Jack Bruce, is that a reference to your son and Bruce Wayne?
It is a reference to my son and my uncle Bruce Coleman, who is
Okay.
the theater director for Theater 3 and kind of taught me to, like, chase those dreams.
Okay. Fair enough.
What dream?
I was hoping for the Batman
creative
reference.
shit.
Okay.
Craig knows this about me. I am actually qualified to do a lot. Like,
Open heart surgery.
not open heart surgery. Well, I mean, I had to do it with a tractor, I probably could.
Yeah.
No, but if it has a motor and it's on this earth, I know how to drive it.
Very
like,
cool.
Yeah, that's one of the skills I have. Like, I can drive anything.
The doggy's busted in.
They are.
Hi, doggy. Bye, doggy.
No, the Handsome Jack Bruce gimmick came along because I realized that I'm kind of fugly looking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it works for me. Like, I'm serious, man. I got the big bushy beard. I'm bald. I'm missing teeth and shit. I'm in okay shape, but not great shape.
You're not that tall.
Well, I'm not. No, I'm not that tall. And see,
You're
that's
not that
funny.
Smart. You have bad credit.
I
Your
do have
restaurant
bad
seats?
credit. I have no credit. Can you call
can't
Flo
drive.
from Progressive for me, please,
Yeah,
Jesse?
Sorry. No, I'm just cutting you down for no reason. I'm sorry about that.
You get to. We're not at the promo yet. Right? I think we're at the hour where I get my cigarette and then I get to come back and fucking torch you, son.
Right.
Well, maybe. Yeah, probably.
No, but I've been studying, or I'm about to start studying at the dojo where
That's
Ember
really cool, though,
Moon
man.
and yeah. But there is no universe where I'm not heel.
I mean, heel. You're just better. And let's talk about like the quality of heels and modern wrestling. They're not that good because in
Some of them, AEW has great heels.
well, yeah, AEW. I mean,
like
the
Chris
modern,
Jericho is a fucking heel, man.
Well, Chris Jericho is an excellent heel. What I'm talking about is, you remember when Big Boss Man showed up at Big Show's dad's funeral and drug his
and
casket
drug the
away?
coffin away I remember when Big Boss Man made Al Snow eat his own dog.
He also got lynched by the Undertaker.
He did. That was messed up.
Dude, I
Although,
was like,
the biggest heel move I ever saw, and I think we've talked about it on this podcast before, though, is Triple H
on your podcast, this is my
wearing a
podcast.
cane mask.
Yeah.
Whoever's podcast we're doing,
It was
Jesse,
a
goddamn it.
podcast.
A podcast that we
Right.
did with Katie Vick. Yeah.
Okay, no, Triple H wore a cane mask and then basically committed necrophilia on 7 o'clock TV on UPN. Like,
Good move.
Well, what? So,
yeah.
so one of my
That's
first,
just knowing your audience right there.
one of the first images I remember when I was very young was Big Boss Man getting lynched by the Undertaker
I believe
when I was
that.
like 7 or 8. And I was like, well, this stuff's for me.
One of the
Yeah.
first for me,
I mean,
though, actually, that was like powerful. And I mean, it's stupid now when I think about it, but like, I was a young enough kid where I was like, oh. But was when, do you remember when The Undertaker crucified Steve Austin?
And he did the same thing to Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, I didn't care so much about Stephanie McMahon. I'm sorry. You're a McMahon. Sorry. But like Steve Austin, I was like, that's a hero of Texas, you goddamn son of a bitch. I'm about to slam a couple of beers together and this motherfucker's going to tie me to a goddamn cross. I swear to God, motherfucker. But yeah, no, I watched them like on wrestling TV crucify. Legitimately crucify fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, man. It was weird.
Nice.
Just touching on Chris Jericho real quick. Do you remember that fan that came across the rail and shoved him?
I
And he
do.
fucking decked him?
Yep.
Dude, that was fucking awesome. Also, the best
Do
improvised.
you remember
line-
the guy that jumped in the ring? Okay, so like we're at a point in wrestling where Steve Austin and Triple H hate each other. Like polar
now?
opposites, they're enemies.
Well, not now, back
no,
then. they
back
were-
then. Okay, so like, but I want you to picture this scenario. Like the show is Triple H and Steve Austin hate each other.
Okay.
There's no common ground there. It's irreconcilable differences. They fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this jackass fan runs in the ring and fucking steals fucking Triple H, right? Or not Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like punches him right in the face. And Triple H just like suplexes this dude for real,
Yeah,
like
well,
5 times.
Triple H was laying on the ground because he was selling a move.
Right.
And then that guy did that, and fucking Triple H just sprung up and just fucking full on German suplex this dude.
Yeah,
Badass.
like dumped him right on his fucking
And
head.
the guy just like knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was done. He was done. He was not prepared for the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, I'm
That
not.
to me is like, look, man, if you're gonna hop in the lion's den, like you're fair game.
If you same thing with because I had a dude when I used to box, I had a guy jump in the boxing ring, and I'm like,
Okay.
why
you're
would you
getting
do that?
Yeah.
Like both of us are punching people.
Yeah.
Like, why would you jump in the middle of this?
Now
We're
you're
just
in the
gonna
field
punch
of
you
play.
now.
You know.
Now we don't have to punch each other. We now get to punch you.
I get it. I'm there.
Lovely. So, going back to the important stuff, how did you guys meet to do the Warlord Radio podcast?
It was in Backpage, Men Seeking Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Waterworks only.
He told me that he was a protein addict, and I told him I was a cum dumpster, and it just kind of worked out. No, what it was is we've told this story on the podcast a couple of times.
The Warlord Radio podcast.
The Warlord Radio podcast. It's been going on for a year now, but we got drunk because it's your podcast now.
Actually, you want to know what's crazy? Is that in May it'll be 2 years.
Motherfucker.
I know.
God
You still don't hate me?
Can't remember.
It's crazy. But
Lovely. No, I don't have to remember shit. I'm the comedy guy.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, we recorded our first episode in April, but it aired in May because it was the I Am Man, I Am Monster farewell show.
It was, and that was a
that's
huge
right.
show.
And it was May of 2 years ago.
I was also in the third episode.
There you go.
You were?
Jesse is one of the originals.
What happened was, though, all right, you got to go back. Diesel Beast got very drunk at Andy's.
Allegedly.
Played
Allegedly.
the worst fucking show we ever did, and it was the
I
first
loved
time
it.
we ever played with Silver Tongue Devil.
Wait. Did you guys get smashed on non-alcoholic beer?
I was on very alcoholic
It was
beer.
fully leaded. Yeah.
I do nothing half-assed, sir.
Right.
Well, that's good.
But
It wasn't just you though.
That's true. Like everybody got fucked up.
Those are always the best days.
It was great. They killed. We loved it, and we were immediately like, these guys are going to be our friends. And
And have been ever since. I mean, like we play shows like it seems like the deeper and we get into this, we play less sporadically together. But I mean, like the thing is like we're at a point where if Dieselby sees Silver Tongue Devil on a show, we're doing it.
yeah, it's like sure.
Yeah. It's like if they're on it, we're on it. Like,
Yeah, we'll do it.
And then, and you know this very well, Jesse. If Oberon and Silver Tongue Devil and Diesel Beast get on a show,
That
is it even a show, or are we just all getting
We're just
hammered?
all fucking around.
Well,
Those are the best shows.
on DJ's birthday, everybody just got hammered and then
Through hot dogs.
threw hot dogs at Oberon while they were playing, and then they laid down on stage.
Was that? Yeah, that was during. That was at Sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, funny story. So I had put that show together, and then I actually put together a benefit show, like a block.
Shameless self plug right there. You see how he does
Shameless
that?
self-plug.
See how he does that?
Check out White Deer Entertainment on Facebook.
I love it. I love
But
it.
like a block down, I had booked a benefit show for the Domestic Abuse Awareness Center there in Ada, which is the Family Crisis Center. So any of you ladies out there that need help, definitely hit them up on Facebook. But
Also, you have a team of metalheads that will beat the shit out of any motherfucker bothering you.
That's right.
We're really good about that, right?
I come with weapons, so
I also come with weapons.
yes.
and,
All right, I'm about to watch me. I'm about to take over Jesse's show. Watch what I'm about to do here.
we're gonna talk about we're gonna have to talk about the show first.
We're going to, but listen,
Okay.
because this is a Warlord Radio crossover show.
No, it's not. We're gonna film that after this.
All right, well then I'm still doing this on your
Oh
show.
goddamn! Hurry up. You
All
got
right.
2 seconds.
So after an hour, everybody in the podcasting world that has worked with me knows that I need what?
Cocaine?
I mean, do you have some?
No.
No.
Cigarette. Nicotine.
Nicotine.
Check the man.
I need a nicotine break. I need a nicotine break, or I'm going to ruin the rest of your podcast.
Okay, go
so you
ahead.
have to
And
give
then-
this to
and then
me.
Me and Craig will talk.
We're
Yeah.
going to talk while I'm gone. Doing
Oh yeah.
nicotine?
We're gonna talk
We're
massive
gonna talk
shit.
shit about you.
All right. Then I want you to know that I already know that my testicles are lopsided. So fuck you.
You heard it here first, everybody.
But you don't know about the weird horse-faced birthmark on the testicles.
You weren't supposed to tell people about that, but I guess fine.
I get your premium Snapchat. I'm sorry.
And you didn't. And no one knows about that time that you experimented in middle school and summer camp.
All right, I'm going to tell you about the time I experimented in school. In what was it? Middle school
school,
in summer camp. All right. I don't know if you guys know this, but oboes on your taint are just tops.
You heard it here first on the Needless Potato podcast. All right, so go away so we can talk shit and then come back.
God damn it, you're dropping beer in this. Oh, what the fuck?
Just drink it.
Yeah.
I mean, that now it's alcohol abuse.
Carrick just fucked up Craig's carpet over here.
I know this price. This price.
up my shit because I was supposed to have a break and you told me no.
This priceless Persian rug.
It's like
It's
something.
almost like it's already that color anyway.
It's not far off. All right, go smoke your cigarette and come back so we can talk
Fuck
shit.
out of here, Carrick.
All right, now that he's gone and the
Yeah.
real people are here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you said Silver Tongue Devil started in 2005? Correct?
Yeah.
How did that come about? You're from Stillwater.
Right. Yeah. So I grew up in
Unfortunately.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
and grew up in Stillwater and went to school at OSU and lived and worked for a little while in Tulsa and OKC and then moved down to Dallas long time, like in the early 2000s. And moved down here for my band that was had started in Oklahoma before Silver Tongue. Moved down here, things quickly fell apart, and then I got, hopping on putting together a new band, and put an ad. There was a weekly musical like rag paper around here called the Harder Beat, and the Harder Beat would do like articles on local shows and national shows, and at the back it would have like a want ads type of thing.
Right.
And I put in a thing in the want ads in the back, and that's how I met Alex. And then from there, we just put the rest of the band together.
And Alex is your guitar player.
And Alex Speed, the Serbian shredder, he's our guitar player in Silver Tongue Devil. So him and I are the original founding members of Silver Tongue Devil.
And who was in the first incarnation?
At the time, it was me and Alex, and we had another guitar player named Randy. We had a bass player named Dan, and we had a drummer named Roger.
Okay.
And so that lineup lasted about a year and a half or so. And then, over time, we've replaced everybody but me and Alex. So now in the band we've got me on vocals, Alex on guitar, John on guitar, who had been our bass player for a while,
Mhm.
and we have Brandon from Exploder playing bass.
Awesome band, by the way.
Yes, shout out to Exploder. And then our buddy Josh, the drummer from Run the Asylum, he's on drums with us right now.
So how did that? So how did you guys incorporate your sound? Like, where is that inspiration from?
It's tough to say. I mean, it's one of those things where each band has its own way of writing songs, of doing songs, and
Right.
some bands are like, there's like one guy that does everything. Like like maybe the guitar player comes in with like a full song written and everybody learns it.
Right.
Um, uh, or sometimes like maybe the drummer is the driving force or whatever. Um, uh, in ours it'll be pretty much uh, me, Alex, and John will get together, and Alex and John will throw together riffs, and I'll just kind of sit back quietly, and I'll be like, "Oh, that was a good one." Let's
Turn them on, yeah.
I'll be like, "I think I can put something to that." You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? And then I'll try to like fit like vocals on there, and we'll try to come up with like a rough outline, and then let you know Brandon and Josh, or before Josh, we had David Cruz, who is an excellent drummer. We'll let them fill it out and bring in their 2 cents or whatever. But for us, anyway, it's not really productive to do the writing process with just everybody sitting around staring at you,
Right.
because you want to have at least some idea
Mhm.
of what you're presenting. But we also try not to be like, oh, here's just a complete song and it's exactly this.
You want input from them.
Yeah, so that is how we got to our sound, is that we all have strong ideas and stuff like that, and everybody contributing their ideas leads to different influences and different structure and stuff like that. So for us, one of the things that stands out about us and works in our favor and has worked against us in the past is that we don't sound exactly like a particular subgenre. So
Right.
we're very clearly metal. That's really just what we go after. Like, we just call ourselves a metal band. But is a lot of scenes get like super specific. So you might play with like brutal death metal bands that are like just brutal death metal, which nothing wrong with that, but it's like its own self-contained scene. Or like thrash, same thing. It's like there'll be a lot of bands and they sound exactly like thrash. And for us, it's like we got a little bit of here, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and so we'll play with all of them. And
You're very much like Oberon in that, like, you'll fit anywhere,
Yeah.
and like Diesel Beast, like it's heavy music and it's metal, but it's not death metal, or it's not kind of like, I don't want to say niche, but it's not real catered to one subgenre, like you were saying.
yeah,
And so you can kind of fit anywhere, and that's what I really like about it. I love the energy. I love that you guys. I love fucking Alex's his kicks and his fucking faces when he's playing guitar.
right.
And like, I fucking absolutely love when you guys close with "Your Mother Sucks Cocks in Hell."
Yeah, that's the default closer. We always close with that song, which we love doing and it's fun.
Can you give the monologue? What you usually say before you play that song?
Oh yeah, well we always, not always, but most of the time, is we'll dedicate that song to everybody that didn't make it out to the show. So it's like we'll give a shout out to everybody not in the crowd that your mother sucks cocks in hell.
There you have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that and obviously that's a line from The Exorcist.
Correct.
But is
Yeah.
it? And I know that you're a huge horror movie buff.
Right.
And you and I actually share a common favorite horror movie in An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, that is an all-time favorite.
Yes.
I
And-
dearly love that movie.
Because and for all you listening out there, check out Joe Rogan's podcast where he has Rick Baker on there.
Who?
Rick Baker?
No, I was
No,
I was just
like,
joking.
come on now. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the monster maker Rick Baker.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
and like,
He's a legend.
dude, the way that they shot that, like that scene, that first transformation,
Mhm.
is they filmed it backwards, right?
Right.
And they shot prosthetic hair through the costume,
Mhm.
and they of course filmed it backwards. And like, just knowing that that's all practical effects
Yeah.
is fucking just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I really love about that movie, is that everything's practical and it's real. If you picture what like a giant werewolf would look like, that's what it would look like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
it's and Rick Baker's the man. Like his work is amazing. Same thing with like Rob Bottin from The Thing and The Howling. You know, The Thing and I'm sorry, American Werewolf and The Howling. Pretty widely regarded as like two of the best werewolf movies of all time.
There's a
And
lot of shitty ones out there.
oh yeah, and I love
Ginger snaps all the way.
and I love both of those movies. And there's others like I like a lot
Have you
of
seen
them.
Late Faces?
Yes, I did, and I enjoyed it.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, that was one of the better like werewolf movies out there.
I can tell you what's not good is the remake of The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, well,
That was not good.
I love Benicio del Toro.
I do too. He's
I-
a great actor. I'm not talking shade about him. I'm just saying the movie itself sucked.
Yeah, was not good.
Yeah.
Well,
But I will argue. By the way, I'm Carrick and I'm back.
character.
I will argue that Anthony Hopkins' character was very well.
He's
done.
good in everything. Like
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins, he's great. So yeah, it wasn't that. It was just, and I think Rick Baker talked about a little bit of that movie in particular on that podcast. So I don't want to go over it too much, but
Right.
it's obvious. Like it's kind of like the sequel to John Carpenter's The Thing that came out a handful of years ago, where initially like when they were planning to do it. They were like, hey, we're going to get like the best of the best makeup effects people, and we're going to do it the way that they did it back in the 80s, but with our technology. And at
Right.
the time, everybody's like, that sounds awesome. That's exactly how you should do it. Cut to when the movie actually comes out, the producers were like, no, that's a little too expensive and would take too much time, so we're going to do everything CGI.
Mhm.
And you can tell.
Yeah, you really can.
And so
I will say this though: did any of you guys watch the Dracula Netflix?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't. Is it
I've
good?
heard mixed
All right,
things.
here's the deal: the
Tell me the
first
deal.
2 episodes are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The third episode is like, what did you do? Why is this where the story
What's
went?
happening?
If it's not a Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy,
Ahoy, motherfucker!
then I don't want to watch it.
Right.
Which, speaking of that, I got a lot of shit for liking the movie Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
I'd
Because-
give you shit for that.
That-
I don't know.
well,
If you're a steampunk kid, though, that movie is the shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not a great movie in the grand scheme of things. It's a good movie for the time.
Neither was either Men in Black movie, but I love those
all
too.
three of them were
Men-
excellent.
Men in Black.
No.
Men in Black was
Yes.
better than Wild Wild
Yes.
West. Come on now.
Okay, no, I'll give you
Come on
that.
now.
Men in Black was definitely better than
I enjoy,
Wild
I
Wild
enjoy,
West.
I enjoyed Men in Black. Men in Black even 2 was okay. Not quite as good, but still entertaining.
3 was good though.
It was entertaining.
Yeah. Well, Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Did you ever see What We Did in the Shadows or What We Do in the Shadows?
I
The
haven't.
vampire shit.
Is it good?
Bro, watch it.
I will.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's really good. There are lines in that shit that just kill me sometimes. But I just because okay, if we're gonna we got to go all the way back to Marvel movies now. Marvel movies are not always the best. Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. However, Thor Ragnarok. Have you watched it yet, Craig?
I haven't.
You have.
Because
I have,
okay.
yeah.
I quickly found my limit and I tuned out to Marvel movies pretty early on.
Fair enough. Okay, but watch Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Because it's, if nothing else, very funny.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, the second new Jumanji movie is hilarious.
Agreed. Yeah.
Dude,
No.
yeah.
The new Jumanji movies
A
are
new level.
fucking hilarious
Dude,
as well.
like the Rock in that is fucking amazing. He is hilarious. in
Do
that
you know what's
fucking
fucked up? Okay, so I went to a Super Bowl party. Okay, you know how the CCSD Diesel Beast goes out and does the Viking party every
Yeah.
year?
Did they do it this year?
Yeah, they did it this year, and I lost my axe to Brett Crow.
Son of a bitch.
How did
talk
you
about
lose
that
your
later.
axe to Brett Crow?
He showed up in the last fucking round after I beat 8 people and then beat me in fucking 1 round. And yeah, Brett Crow, I'm fucking salty.
Right?
Wait,
Coming for that ass next year.
Explain for the people at home. What do you mean you beat 8 people? Like,
Okay, they had a base off for a giant Viking axe, which I kind of felt was made for just me.
Yeah.
right?
Like that's his precious.
Yeah, and so I went and I faced off against 8 other bass players from Denton, which is a music town, so that's like no small feat.
Oh yes.
I beat 8 dudes and made it to the finals, and then Brett Crow, the only dude in this entire town that doesn't even just like play better than me, but he kind of smokes me a bit. Came in the last round. Did not have to beat 8 dudes, and fucking took my axe. And yeah, but next year,
You know what? I bet he
Brett
can't
Crow.
even. I bet he can't even cut a decent promo.
I'm coming
Yeah,
for
he
that.
can't cut a decent promo.
No, he's like at Randall's level.
Yeah.
You think you're cool? You call yourself Brett Crow, but I'm about to murder you. Yeah. I'm coming at you with some Steve Howe. Yeah. I'm coming at you with some Geddy Lee. Yeah. I'm even coming at you with some Peanut from 311. And let's be real, 311 wasn't a great band, but Peanut was a good damn bass player. Yeah.
You Hal. Randall Day purrs.
Randall Day fucking also kicks my ass. There are not many people in this town that can kick my ass at bass, but there are a few.
The fucking beginning to religious vigor is amazing.
Religious vigor.
Somebody, I'll use guys out
I'll
there.
use.
I'll use guys out there. Definitely check out Monogamizer, Randall Day's band.
Absolutely.
And shooting stars.
Randall Day, you may notice from like at least 9 episodes of this show.
Yeah, you mean of your show? This is my show.
So at the beginning,
Whatever we're doing here, Jesse, I'm sorry.
but
No, you're fine.
before we started this episode, while Jesse was getting set up, he was like, "Hey, is there anything that we shouldn't talk about?" And I said, "Yes, Oberon." And so I said, "DJ's like Voldemort. We can't mention
Can't
his
say
name."
his
DJ.
So I just fucked it up.
DJ.
No, la 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 la.
You also have to talk about Logan Kyle Wood because Logan Kyle Wood gets upset when we don't talk about him.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's the thing about Logan Kyle Wood. It's like, bro, you're playing drums. Like, shut up.
Logan has some stellar nighttime photography.
He does, yeah. Logan Wood photography.
Unironically, I'm not being a dick. Like he really does have good.
No, he really is good.
He's a multifaceted guy. I'm talking shit, but like everybody in Oberon
He's a
is
handsome
like
devil. We'll put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
the
No,
thing
good
about
looking
you
guy.
fucking pricks. All right, I'm gonna tell you this
Yeah.
because this is what's going on. Like Diesel Beast, we're good at doing what we do.
Mhm.
Oberon, though, they're like, we're all good looking, and we also do other shit. And like, I'm DJ Bryant. My hair is perfect. You fuck.
Right.
What is it like? Gorilla Monsoon said that you can't look like that sitting around the pool.
He absolutely can, though.
He can.
Like
Not
DJ
really
Bryant
fucking-
could literally be in a fucking like leopard skin Speedo, hanging out on a fucking Adirondack chair by a pool, and everybody just like that goes, oh
That's
Man.
oddly specific.
Man, I hope that's their next promo shot.
really? Yeah, no. For the next Oberon
Oberon.
album, that's what I want
They're just
so
all
bad.
swimsuits.
That's what I want for the
No,
album cover.
well, you got Logan Kyle Wood, who is an excellent photographer, as Craig mentioned. You got DJ Bryant, who's an excellent artist. He's a multiple faceted musician,
Yeah.
and he's not bad on the ice. Adam, who
Wait,
is
he does like meth really good?
yeah, he does.
Not ice, but
Yeah.
eyes.
Oh, okay,
on the
my bad.
eyes.
Yeah, he's not bad on the eyes. I'm sorry, I misunderstood
Well,
you. I was
and
like,
he's an
hey
excellent,
man, I didn't know he did that much meth, but kudos.
and he's an excellent skater because he's easy on the ice.
There you go.
Sorry.
Terrible.
No, but,
Terrible.
And then and Jeremy is just an incredibly fascinating guy to talk to. I mean, Jeremy is very insightful. He's a very intelligent guy, and he's the best looking guy out there.
But here's the thing about Adam, dude. Adam,
I'm just kind of a dick. I'm gonna be honest.
perhaps, but he is also. Shout out
We
to
love
you,
you, Adam.
glorious
We love you,
motherfucker.
Adam.
No, Adam is a promotion machine.
Yes.
Yes, very much. Adam is like he kicks my butt because he is like he's just fucking pumping out likes and shares, and he's giving all the local bands love.
Yep.
And you can talk to him, and he'll be like, yeah, that guy played in this band.
Because
And
Adam doesn't sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, this is a band I played with." Like Adam would, and I've seen him do this. Adam would get somebody like in somebody's messages and be like, "Hey man, these are my friends, and
Right.
they're badass." And then like when you're on the other end of that, you have no other choice but to be like, "Yes, that's Adam, my friend."
Yeah.
Adam is friends to all.
To all.
To all.
He's the day man, fighter of the night man.
So just kind of wrapping up here on my version of the podcast.
Your version of your podcast.
Yeah, well,
We'll allow you to have your podcast.
yeah. Well, thanks.
We're
man.
very generous.
I appreciate it.
We're generous.
One thing that I say
You
about
technically
you guys,
came to this house though, which means we can put our balls on your face if we need to.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
please don't.
Don't pass out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, there was roofies in this water.
Yep.
Oh no, no.
Tastes a little
We
bitter.
told you that in the beginning. We're like, "Hey Jesse, you want some roofie water?" And you said yes.
Right.
I was like, oh
Actually,
no.
it's just that he didn't specifically say no.
Yeah.
At no point did he say not to roofie him, which I take as consent.
I do as well. Yeah, that's horrible.
What-
But yeah, I'm doing that.
Which I did say. I was like, oh no, not these roofies,
All right.
please. Anyways,
Let's just say we were all pretty lax on the subject of roofies.
Right.
there were no rules.
Yeah.
But no, what is like the future plans for Warlord Radio podcast?
Okay. Do we want to talk about this now? 'Cause
No,
everything's
I don't
kinda in
think
the mix.
so.
All right.
I don't think we should talk about too much, other than to say
What I will say
that we
is
got
that
shit going on.
we have recently hooked up with an internet radio group called Harry Rock Radio. And Harry Rock Radio has graciously included us on many possible opportunities in the future.
And where can people find Harry Rock Radio?
HarryRockRadio.com, man. Look for Sasquatch.
Yep.
And,
That's like his logo, and that's the guy that runs it. So HarryRockRadio.com.
And like I said, we have the happy misfortune of either having a whole bunch of bullshit in the works or a whole bunch of like really giant opportunities in the works.
Right.
And so without getting into specifics, I would like to say that the merger between Warlord Radio and Harry Rock Radio has been very beneficial to at least our side.
I mean, just the fact that, he got Gary Holt to shout us out, that was,
Yes.
call me a happy camper. Like, that's enough pay right there. Like,
dude, that was
like,
fucking awesome.
if it goes nowhere else than that, I'm like, that was worth it.
Not to mention, like, our social media hits took a different jump. And, like, do you want to hear something fucking funny as shit, though? Okay, like, so I assume if you're listening to Unnecessary Potatoes or Warlord Radio podcast, like,
Or if you're from Ireland.
yeah.
you know who Gary Holt is.
And if
correct?
you don't, you
You
should.
should.
Go
Absolutely.
look. Go do some Google research
All
and
right,
familiarize yourself with Gary Holt.
Craig and I are both having a shitty day. We have been very candid on this podcast about some certain personal life shit, which isn't great.
Right?
But we woke up one day and the dude from Harry Rock Radio, Sasquatch, Kevin Hinkle,
Yep.
graciously was like, "Hey man, I got a video for you," and it was Gary Holt from Slayer, and not just Slayer, but like Carcass.
Exodus.
Exodus.
I'm sorry, man, I fucked that all up. We're gonna edit that out, right?
No.
Yeah.
Because we edit shit out. No, from Exodus. Like, I've been
Exodus.
listening to Gary Holt play since I was like fucking 14 years old.
He threw a pick at me.
And
when
to
I was
hear that
listening.
guy like
There you go.
say my fucking name and the name of my show was like awesome.
He also called you his brothers.
But
That's right. In the Hulk Hogan.
Brother.
Right.
But I showed that clip to my kid.
He just knows something.
He is 7 years old, and I was like, "This is Gary Holt. He's like a famous rock star. I've been listening to this guy for a long time." My kid was just like, "Okay, cool."
Leave me alone.
Did not give a shit. Biggest moment in my life, and my 7-year-old was like, eat a dick, Dad.
Like, I hate to say it, but your son sounds kind of like a poser.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna let you guys fight that out in the Thunderdome. We'll see who the poser is, bro.
Real
You
quick,
think you could take on a Coleman, Mr. Meinhardt?
real quick, Craig.
Sir, the weakest Coleman.
That's right.
What did the dogs think when you showed them?
The dogs, yes. They were they were disappointed that there wasn't more violence.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I believe that, and I also believe that like Brutus just really wanted to smell a vagina.
So there's a funny story of a couple of weeks ago. I was chilling on a Sunday night in here, just drinking some bourbon and hanging out with the dogs and watching John Wick 3.
Like you do.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
you seen John Wick 3?
I've seen the first two.
they're
Yeah.
all badass.
So I love the series. So I finally saw part 3, and I've got this white German Shepherd named Katana, and
she is both beautiful and fierce.
yes. And so she was on the couch with me, and in the scenes where there's like these attack German Shepherds, or I'm not sure if they're Belgian Malinois or German Shepherds, but they look similar.
Whatever,
But
dog nerd.
they've got like tactical vests on, and they're fucking dudes up, and they're biting guys and throwing them off ledges and stuff like that. She's just literally staring at the screen, smiling while all the dog action is going on. Yeah. So anytime we're watching like. If I'm watching like a nature documentary and there's like some lions eating something or something like that, like she's all about that.
And I don't know if you guys remember this, but a few months back, we acknowledged the fact that I had been living with Craig for a bit.
That's true.
And so I have very close knowledge of Katana, and that story is not even remotely unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Like, I truly believe that dog was just sitting on the couch like, yeah,
It's just,
I could fuck motherfuckers up if
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt like it.
Wait. You guys had bunk beds, correct?
yes, I got top bunk though.
That's
Oh.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he
So
was
I
an
made
alpha
him-
dog.
I had to get
made
the
him
bottom
take
bunk. I have vertigo.
Yeah.
Well, how sweet of you.
No, I will say this. Like, we had separate rooms, which was nice and way less weird.
Right.
But Katana, much like the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park, figured out how to open my door. So every now and then I would wake up, because I work nights, so I wake up like late in the day, and by that time the dogs really need to go out. And Katana figured out how to open my door and just poke her head in my room and jump up in my bed and be like, hey, we need to go outside.
Or just stare at you.
Or we're going to piss in here.
She sometimes would just like to stare at you.
She would
Just kind of
stare at
size
me.
you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what we talk about the Huns of Castle Meinhardt quite
Yes.
frequently, but like a big shout out to these dogs. Like Craig has a pack of beasts,
Yes.
and I don't care about your fucking bullshit toy poodle or your dachshund or your chihuahua or your chiweenie. If you have a chiweenie, like kind of
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Okay, but
It's
like
gonna haunt my dreams.
Craig just like rolls around with these monsters, and they're the best monsters in the world.
They're
If you
excellent.
cross them, they're gonna rip you apart. There's not a goddamn thing you could do about it.
Caesar might just lick you to death.
That's after the
real-
other
Real
dogs
quick,
rip
Craig,
you apart.
What are their names? We have Katana, Caesar.
So by age, it's Caesar. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Dax, Caesar, Katana, Johann, and Brutus.
All right, here's the deal. Okay, this is how I break them down. Because I break them down like they're different characters in Tank Girl. All right, Brutus is a bit of a perv. Brutus is trying to smell a little bit of ass, maybe touch a boob, like not trying to be creepy about it, but like that's kind of what he's after.
Right.
Caesar. Caesar is your tank.
Indeed.
This dog could literally take down a wall if he wanted to, but you got to piss him off first. Because he loves you.
Yes.
But the minute he stops loving you, he could rip your arm off your goddamn body.
He's just a big chocolate lab. So his main thing is that he gets so excited to get attention and see people and get love that he'll just like knock you right over.
Yeah,
And
he doesn't
not
give a
mean
fuck. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's a big old chalk dog, and he's great. However, on the flip side of Brutus and Caesar, you got Johann. And Johann
of the Rohan.
Johann works special forces. And Johann understands no other words but Johann. Nine. Like Johann, like he's your soldier dog. Like that dog would I don't know how to explain Johann because I don't think I comprehend Johann correctly.
He's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart.
He's a very big sweetheart until you piss him off, and then that
Johann's
dog,
a German Shepherd. Johann and
Right.
Katana are German Shepherds.
Johann's the kind of dog that wouldn't just kill you; he would also make your body disappear. Like he would just know how to do that.
He's very tactical like that.
He's tactical, exactly.
Well, not to interrupt you, but I have a very pleasant, very excellent cat named Flea.
Flea. Does Flea
Flea.
pay bass?
She doesn't.
Oh, God.
She no sells any of my jokes, and and I'll cut promos on her when I get home from work,
Yeah.
and she just like stares at me like, "What are you even doing here?"
Cats are cool.
Yeah.
What kind of like an American short hair? Or what?
I think she's a Russian blue mix.
Oh wow.
So
Russian Blues are smart.
So
Nice.
I'll finish with that story. I'll finish with the story about how I became Flea's human. But she was living in the bushes at Burger King, and the Burger King in Ada is kind of sketchy.
Get out of here.
Ada's sketchy.
I don't believe it.
By the way, have I told you that Diesel Beast? Like, I'm sorry that we do this, but every time we go to Ada, we make sure to pee on one public building. Like,
Right.
Pee on all of them, dude.
Well, we don't have a venue there now, right? Because
Yeah,
Sessions
well-
closed, and then the other place
Sessions
down
closed down,
the
and then
hall or the youth center, or
Grandview,
whatever it was.
Yeah. And then so we have the lot and we have Vintage 22, which are both opening back up in March, April. But I'll tell you off air about a new venue because I don't want to spoil anything. But
Okay.
I'll tell you off. But anyways, so I went to Burger King one time to go get some food. I've seen a very tiny, dirty flea in the bushes, and she came out and was like, we made eye contact, and then she meowed, and I rolled down my window, and I was like, all right, well, I gotta adopt this fucking cat. So I hit up the
it
people.
happens like that sometimes.
I hit up the people at Burger King. I was like, hey, when you guys get this cat, let me know, and here's my number or whatever. So it took them like 3 days, and they finally got back to me, and I went and picked her up, and the manager came out and gave her to me, and then but the manager lady was like, yeah, if you weren't gonna take her, I was gonna take her home because I got like 4 or 5 outside cats out there, and they just like to roam around, and I was like, good lord, this fucking kitten's gonna die if it goes with this lady.
Mm-hmm.
So I took her home, and she's lived in my house for about 7 months, and she's excellent.
Do you have an approximation of how old she is?
I think she's about 8 months because she was like very malnourished and she was very little. So I think she was probably about a month old when I got her.
Shit. So she's still super young.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Right on.
and
So I have one beast in my past, and I've told Craig about this beast. And when I tell other people about this beast, I get laughed at sometimes. But Craig knows. About 5 years ago, I owned like an 8-year-old Maine Coon.
Okay.
Maine Coons are awesome.
And a Maine Coon is essentially the closest a house cat can get to a lion.
Right? They're big ass cats.
And yeah, no, this was like a 35-pound cat.
Yeah.
And I watched this Maine Coon fuck up like 5 different people. Like just fucking like lacerations. Like they need to go to the emergency room for stitches. Like this cat would just jack people up, and it was great. But I don't know. I guess what I'm saying here is I very much recommend a Maine Coon.
Yes. Maine Coons are great.
yes. So go out there, get a pet,
Yeah.
If
Go,
you have one.
go rescue an animal.
go rescue an animal.
Go rescue an animal.
Yeah.
You don't know. Dude, if you rescue some animal that's had some savage-ass life, you have no idea how much that thing might be willing to become like your general of the army of the night. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah. Well, Flea, if you're listening, take notes.
That's
All
right.
right.
We love you.
I have to finish said podcast up because I have to go do Glitter Bomb tonight, which is something that I've been doing lately.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and finish this up. Thanks everybody. Once again, I've been Jesse White Deer,
I'm Carrot Coleman.
I am Craig Meinhardt.
and we are out of here, everybody.
Hold up, but I would like to say that the Unnecessary Potatoes podcast
Uh-huh.
and the Warlord Radio podcast
Mhm.
have been linked far longer than this interview
It's true.
happened. You
Our
know what I
bloodlines
mean?
Go back far.
That's true.
And I will always say this. I will say that the Warlord Radio pledges our swords to the Unnecessary Potatoes podcast, just as I hope that you pledge your potatoes
Yeah,
to the warlords.
When
Well-
this blows up and you're too big to talk to us, you still have to talk to us.
Well, absolutely.
Exactly.
yeah, that's
I'll,
that's what I mean.
I'll make a special trip to talk to you guys.
Yeah. When you're eclipsing Joe Rogan, you still have to occasionally have us on your show.
Okay.
We're gonna come out. And
I'm
do
gonna hold you
weird
to
shit,
that,
too,
by the
yeah.
way.
Oh yeah, no,
You're gonna be
this
not
is on
returning phone
radio.
calls. He's like,
And
"Fuck
every
those
time
guys."
you don't let us on your super popular show, we're gonna play this soundbite.
Yeah. And Jesse's gonna be like, "Yeah, I had him on once, not
Yeah,
again."
I mean,
Yeah.
I was young, needed the money.
Right.
No, but on the real tip, we have had Jesse White Deer on the Warlord Radio podcast many, many times, and we are very proud that he has branched off and done his own thing.
We're getting ready to have him on again.
And I know.
But
It's
yeah,
so weird.
Stop talking so we can film the other podcast.
It's awesome that you're
You
doing
got nothing here, bro. I gotta go.
it's awesome that you're doing your own thing.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so much for having us
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Later.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
I hope your mama dies face down in Rosie O'Donnell's ass.
Alice in Chains?
Yeah,
I
right.
think so, right?
You guys have a good day.